Hello, everyone, and welcome to Round the Table with CulinArt. I'm Matt Santarpia, your host, and I'm very excited for this very special edition where we're concentrating on CulinArt's professional management initiatives, our professional management programs. And we've put together another all-star panel, Round the Table with CulinArt. And I'd like to start with Ed Jakubiak. Ed Jakubiak is our district manager in the New York City area. Ed, welcome. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hi, welcome. Ed Jakubiak. I'm the district manager for New York City and for Long Island. I've been with CulinArt for about 25 years, started out as a chef and worked my way through the management role through CulinArt. And I'm very happy to be here, very excited about this program.
Well, thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. And you know, what you're going to see, ladies and gentlemen, which is exciting, is that you're going to see the different levels and really all the effort and programs that go into our professional management series. So you'll hear from senior leaders like Ed Jakubiak, and you'll also hear from our Compass Group partners, because one of the nice things that CulinArt has going for itself is being part of that Compass Group family of terrific companies. And we have Sloane Mayberry with us. And Sloane Mayberry is a recruiter for our university relations area, and she oversees our manager in training and professional development university level candidates. Sloane, tell us a little bit about how long you've been working for Compass Group and what your areas are, because lucky you, but you're not just in charge of, CulinArt's initiatives when it comes to university relations, but you're also overseeing other great Compass Group companies as well.
Right. So I have been with Compass Group for just over a year now as a university relations recruiter. I handle all of the B&I sectors, so CulinArt, Flick, Wolfgang Puck Catering, among many others.
Now we go into my favorite part, because now we're going into the locations. And, CulinArt Group is a collection of different business lines from, different areas, whether it's educational dining. You heard Ed Jakubiak and Sloane mention business and industry dining. We have an events and entertainment area, and we have team members and management
leadership all throughout these various business lines, all filtering up to CulinArt. But Stephen Richardson is from our first inaugural class of our manager and training program.
Well, thank you for having me again, Matt. I really appreciate it. So I'm Stephen Richardson. I started with CulinArt back in January. I met CulinArt through a career fair at the Culinary Institute of America at their New York Hyde Park campus. And yeah, I got to meet Sloane, and she was like, hey, let me tell you about this amazing CulinArt company I have in mind here for you. And it was just a great chance to get to do an interview and get to meet then you at Matt, and then Ed as well. I remember you guys calling me after class like, hey, Steven, you got a moment to chat? I'm just like, okay, sure.
Well, that's wonderful. And for those of our viewers, and I think most of our viewers will know, but remember, this goes out to not only our CulinArt valuable team members and our Compass Group partners, but it goes out to client partners as well. CIA is the Culinary Institute of America, which is one of the top hospitality and culinary schools in North America. And, we would also say one of the top culinary and hospitality management schools in the world. And people come from all over the world to study there. So it's fabulous that you decided to join CulinArt and that you decided to make CIA part of your educational experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's helping me out a ton as I kind of grow through this program, and learning a lot about the business through CulinArt and from my experience as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Kavya Shivakumar is also a manager and training candidate that was sourced by our very own Sloane Mayberry. And you're also, Kavya, in the same building I am at Stony Brook University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kavya. To most of my coworkers, I go by Kay. I'm also from the CIA Culinary Institute. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business management and a concentration in farm to table. I'm so grateful for being here. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the rest of how this goes.
Kavya, I want to talk a little bit about what you just said, because I think it's so important. Again,
CIA, a top school. We're very lucky to have people from the CIA working with CulinArt and Compass Group. But you mentioned farm to table with a specialty or a degree focus in farm to table, which is so important to us, as a company, especially being part of Compass Group, which is the most progressive hospitality company within our industry. So talk to us a little bit about what that means in terms of a degree, farm to table, or a concentration, and how you're applying that at Stony Brook University, because I'd love to hear about it.
Of course. So for me, CulinArt was the best decision, in my opinion, because of that fact, because sustainability is such a big part of what CulinArt stands for. And I think that's really important when we think about global warming and the general state of affairs when it comes to the earth and how we're treating it. And so the farm to table concentration was very important for me because I learned about the food system, what's good, what's not working, and how we can actually work towards a better society. And that comes with using compostable, renewable products. That comes with trying to use our waste as innovatively and creatively as possible, such as composting the coffee grounds or sourcing from local farms around us, which definitely brings down the footprint, the carbon footprint that we leave behind. And I think that's very important for the new generation because everyone's looking at, what goes into my food. I am what I eat, but what goes into the food that I eat. And I think that's very important. And yeah, that definitely helped me choose and make my decision to join CulinArt.
Well, that is wonderful. Ed, we're talking about professional development programs, and we're talking about bringing the very best to CulinArt and Compass Group, and how we do that, and why, in your opinion, are these professional development programs, specifically manager and training, et cetera, so important for our own growth and development?
Well, I think they're important for a couple of different reasons. One is for retention. I think when people hear that there's growth and they see that growth, I think it excites them and it gives them the enthusiasm to increase their performance, that there is a path to growth. So I think it's very important for that. I think it gives our current team members the excitement to say, hey, that's something I'd like to try. So, we see a lot of the hourly associates seeing folks go through the AMP and through the MIT and saying, hey, listen, I'd like to do that. And promoting from within is something that we, so truly encourage. And, it's such an excitement to be around. So I think for those reasons, and our clients are looking at it, seeing that we're involved and engaged with our people and that we care about them and that we care about their growth and the opportunities, that they can involve into. So there's a lot of different reasons why I think it's important for us.
No, and I think it's so interesting you hit on all of those, Ed, because, that's, why we do the program. We do these professional development programs for those reasons, to retain our great talent, to share the information, and to grow our industry as a whole. It makes everything better, right? And Stephen and Kavya and others, right, within our company are the next steps in the future. So thank you, Ed. I appreciate that.
But by the way, just to add, they're bringing something to us as well, right? So they're seeing the business with a fresh pair of eyes and actually teaching us some of the things that they've learned in school, some of the current trends that they're experiencing. And so it's kind of a win-win for everybody. And we really appreciate what they bring to the table.
Sloane, I'm going to turn to you for a moment because maybe you can explain a little bit of the differences with the Compass Group professional development programs that you oversee, and a little bit about what you're seeing, because we're lucky, when we deal with Compass Group, we get best practices, not only from CulinArt, but we get best practices from other Compass companies, and we can take those and apply them to our unique division, if you will.
Absolutely. So I focus mainly on intern hiring and manager and training hiring. So an intern is someone who is usually in college. It's for meaningful work experience. Before they graduate, they can really put what they are learning currently into place in the workplace. The great thing about internships at Compass and CulinArt, pretty much all of our sectors are, it's like a trial for a summer or a semester. You work with CulinArt for however many months, you fall in love, they fall in love with you. You're hopefully then offered a full-time position. So it's a really great pipeline for managers in training. And then once you're a manager in training, you kind of have your feet wet. You know what the company's about because you've interned there, and you finish your last year of school or years of school, and you bring, what you've learned those last few years of school to work, and you're ready to work. Since COVID, we've found that there's a real appetite for work. People in hospitality and culinary programs are there for a reason. They want to work. They want to be in the industry. So people are kind of chomping at the bit for these opportunities.
That's great. And we love to see that too. I mean, within the industry, and all of us can share. I mean, I am an internship graduate, years ago when I was in hospitality management school and had to do a practical internship. And then I got into a very new manager and training program with, another large company, which was terrific. And it was the beginnings of that, but that really taught me everything I know about this industry. So it's that marriage of your schooling, as you mentioned, with that practical work experience. And I think for our industry, which is a high touch, hands-on industry, a people industry, that's invaluable.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sloane. That's terrific.
Yeah, I also like to say that it's a good stepping stone. The MIT AMP program, great stepping stone. So those who want to be in the manager realm or have that manager title once they graduate can be kind of hard. So going through manager and training gets your feet wet. You get the training that you need to then become a manager. I think it's a really great program.
So Stephen, I want to jump back to the Big Apple if I can. You're live in New York City. Watch out.
Yeah.
So Stephen, how has your experience been so far? Because, people will be watching this, within CulinArt who may have no experience with a manager and training program, whether it's with us or another company. Maybe they'd like to have experience with it. So, what are some things over the last several months, that you've been doing in your training?
Yeah, I think I was very fortunate to come to Ed's district, and just at the timing it was where we were kind of, bringing back business after COVID, which is exciting to see. Just being able to see the different aspects of the business, I think, is critical. And I got the chance to go to a hospital account as well as another type of law firm account, and seeing how the inner workings of each one's a little bit different.
So you were in a healthcare location and a business industry location, which are very different.
Correct. So
that's interesting, right in the beginning.
Yeah, so seeing how, even though we're all part of this CulinArt family, how each one operates slightly differently, and being able to interact with our clients and truly understand the best way we can meet their needs. Because right now, some of our clients' biggest challenges are return to office, and how do you motivate your people to come back into work by having new food, new things that you can offer to them. And it's been a really exciting chance to work with our Eatify app. That was kind of something new that CulinArt's been taking on. So clients have been really excited about this. It's a way for them to order food within their own locations. And
well, it's a new application for the new business normal that all of us are in right now, because it has changed. We've mentioned that on other round the table episodes. Like it or not, business has changed, and as a forward-thinking company, we have to change with that. So that Eatify app is a perfect example.
Yeah, so customers have loved it from when I've talked to individuals to when I've talked to clients about it. It's kind of a great way that shows, hey, we're here to adapt with technology the best way that we can to make it easier for them when they come back in. I'm seeing a lot of places that do have their own interns or younger employees there. They love it. They can just hop on their phone, order some of their favorites from us, and then just have it there in their cafeteria ready for them.
That's terrific. Another wonderful attribute of CulinArt and Compass Group is that we have those avenues that you can explore many different business lines all under that umbrella of hospitality.
I mean, you studied culinary, you studied management, and now you're doing, you know, a little bit of everything and something different as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good opportunity to put together the 2 degrees that I did get from business and food and kind of just marry the two together in this hospitality industry. So.
Well, wonderful, Stephen. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. Kavya, I want to jump back to Stony Brook University on Long Island. And Kavya, you know, you're doing things a little differently, you know, whereas Stephen is moving around throughout Ed's district, and that's a district in Manhattan and beyond, right? He's going to a lot of different locations. You are working in CulinArt's largest location, which happens to be Stony Brook University, as I mentioned earlier. And that is like a district within a district, right?
Yep.
It's a large, large campus with multiple venues. So how has your experience been, and what's your exposure been like since you've started?
So at the first, when I just graduated and I was coming in for an interview, I didn't really know what to expect, because when I was at the CIA, I used to work with restaurant associates, and our catering group within the CIA is outsourced to restaurant associates. So it's a very different environment when you're catering weddings, when you're catering events and fests. And so when I came into Stony Brook, I didn't know how operations ran. I was very used to, you know, service 1, 2, 3, and then do dinner, do coffee, and you're done. So
Yeah, catered
learning-
affair or a wedding is very different
Oh,
from
yeah.
a campus dining experience, right?
Definitely. I think when you're doing events, you are very, very hyper focused on every aspect for a short while of time, whereas with dining, you actually have to focus on everything. You have that same kind of focus, but it's for a much longer period of time, and you have to be able to take that strain on the brain as well as your physical capabilities should match what the job demands. And I think the programs that we are currently running are great, especially for, you know, new people like me, because, you know, I didn't know whether I wanted to be in the kitchen or a manager. And I think, as Matt mentioned before, it's a great opportunity to figure out what you want to do. I got to dabble in a bit of both. I did a few months with the back of house and a few months with front of house, and I finally settled on doing managerial work at the moment. It was a great opportunity. There was so much information because there's so many different units doing different things with the same fundamentals. And so having that base and learning from a dine-in location and then taking that knowledge and using it in the different catering and retail locations that we do have was a great experience. And I'm currently working at a retail location. So being able to use that knowledge and knowing that I'm doing the right thing with that knowledge is a great experience.
Well, that's great, Kavya. Really wonderful. Ed, I want to jump to you for a moment and talk a little bit about best practices. I mean, you have, just so our viewers know, Ed oversees many different locations, and those managers and chefs, etc., report up to Ed Jakubiak, and Ed ultimately reports to a vice president and then the president of CulinArt. So in the food chain of our company, you're overseeing, you know, a large piece of different types of businesses. How do you do professional development programs, specifically manager and training? And what are some best practices that you can share for our team that you've seen?
Right. Well, I thought back to when I started with CulinArt, and one of the things that benefited me the most was to to assist the local leaders, like Rad and Mike Purcell and Tom Ike, with account openings. We did a lot of different special events, and I worked with a lot of different special projects. So having that diverse kind of workflow really benefited me. You got to see a lot of different managers, and you experienced a lot of different manager styles and their different approach to the business and their distinctive ways of managing people. So a lot of that, and I would say that was the approach I took when we first met Stephen and started talking to him in December, was to give him a vast experience in different locations. As he said, we put him to help out in MSK at the hospital. He's been at an OCS, a hedge fund in Midtown, and now he's downtown in a law firm. So having that, different type of experiences, I think, is what would benefit the most to the candidates, as taken it personally from my experience.
Only in our business can you be at Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital, one of the largest and best hospitals in the country, in the morning, Stephen, and then in the afternoon, you're working at a hedge fund.
He may want to kill me now, but I think in the long term, I think he'll be happy, and he'll have the experience to do both, and there's nothing better than that.
So that's an actionable item, Ed. That's a best practice, is, continuing that exposure. You feel not just at one location, but at multiple locations really bolsters the learning experience.
I think so. I think, each location is very different. Each client is different, and each group of team members that you have are different. There are union members, there are non-union members, there are small accounts, there's large accounts. And to learn how to deal with all those different aspects of the business, I think is important. And I think it benefits when you see how different people do it in different ways, right? Each manager has a different style. And for Stephen to experience that and to absorb all those different types of styles, I think, there's so many different ways to skin a cat. And when you see what works, what doesn't work, and what works for you, and you have to kind of navigate through that and see what works for you. But I think seeing all that and experiencing all that is a great benefit.
Great, thank you, Ed. I love having that oversight, from your point of view, because you're seeing, so many different moving pieces from the lifeblood of our company, which is the operation, right? Where Stephen and Kavya are in right now. Sloane, I love to hear best practices from your standpoint, because you're, again, overseeing business and industry, et cetera, and you're seeing all these Compass Group unique companies.
So my first one from a recruiter standpoint would be to always upload your most updated resume. If you're in a position currently, put it on there. Definitely don't wait until you finished an internship. Definitely put that on there. It's a great speaking point when you're talking to a recruiter to talk about what you're learning now. Second would be ask questions. If while you're in an internship or manager in training role, ask questions. That's how you learn. You might think you're being annoying, but trust me, it's okay. It'll help you in the long run. And then third would be no task is too small. Definitely, pitch in when you can, ask to help out. That's another way to learn more. It also helps your manager know that you want to learn, you want to be there. So I think those are my top 3 tips.
Great. No, I love it. Stephen, now that you've been through the program and nearing graduation formally, can you tell us a little bit of what you've seen from a best practice perspective that worked for you?
Probably the big 3 that helped me out was, 1, I always carry a notebook with me. I'm constantly taking notes for myself. When it's about a process or how to do something that I have questions about, always taking notes. Or often I see kind of managers, like Ed was saying, different people have different practices. So I'll take notes on like, oh, I really like that. Or if I see a form at one location, I'm like, that's a great form. I'm going to email that to myself so I have it for later. Other managers in the district have been great with just sharing, different forms and anything that really helps out. And also I would say talk to people and get to know people, because, we all have our strengths, and there are some very, very talented people that have been with CulinArt for a lot longer than I have, that have shared so much with me. And that's been like an exponential help as I've kind of worked my way through this process. So,
well, use your network. Kavya, I'm going to jump back to Stony Brook. How about you? Now that you're nearing graduation, you've been involved for several months and you've got to see it in real life. What are some best practices and things that worked for you?
I think Stephen took my point on this one. I think writing down everything is such a big key factor in remembering, especially when you have 50 employees telling you different points at different points in time, even if it's not important or even if it's not an urgent thing. Typing just doesn't get it into your head the same way writing it down does.
Right.
So it's definitely, definitely a top point over there. I think another point I personally valued was starting with my best foot forward and expecting more work than what I would actually be doing. And I think that was very important for me because I went in with enough adrenaline and determination to get through the tasks that I was given. And so even if I was expecting this huge, really important, very massive task that I was given, I was still able to get through it in the best way possible. And I think that's very important to kind of overestimate, that saying, reach for the sun and you may fall among the stars. I think that is the best idiom in this case. It's just put your best foot forward, definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kavya. Ed, tell us why CulinArt's different. We want to finish up with, what makes CulinArt's approach to these professional development programs different in the long run. So what do we do differently that leads us to this success?
Well, I think there's full buy-in, right? We have Sloane, we have you, we have a great support system. You help us keep the communication open. And our managers are just tremendous. I mean, I know there's a lot of, people in other companies and that I've worked for, and this would not be welcomed. It would be, I have too much to do. I can't teach this guy when I can't get my own stuff done. And our managers and our folks have embraced, the candidates. And I think that's been a great part of the success. We've also been fortunate to have great candidates, right? I mean, Kay, you sound wonderful. I haven't worked with you, but Stephen's been great. I mean, we took this, new app, Edify. It's, new technology to us. And, he took it and ran and got it up and running and was able to train the manager actually, and the assistant manager how to use that, and the clients. So I think it's just everybody's, embracement of the program and the support that we get from you and Sloane and the fortunate aspect of the candidates that we have. So it's been great. It really has. And I would definitely recommend it to anyone.
Well, thank you, Ed. My gosh, Sloane, when Ed is so nice, I was going to say, I'll drop off a check next week or something. For what? But that's very, very nice of you to say, Ed. That's terrific. Sloane, in your experience working with CulinArt, again, you're working with so many, what has your experience been and how are we doing things different to a better outcome in your opinion? And what can we continue to do?
Yeah, well, agreed. Thank you, Ed. I agree. You guys have an amazing support system. So the biggest thing, I think you're so open. You guys are willing to speak to any and all candidates, pretty much, different experience levels, different locations, geographic, which is great, especially, it's 2022. Things are different, especially post-COVID. Why not talk to a bunch of different candidates? That's, important to get candidates from all over the country, all different walks of life. So I think that has been huge, how open you guys are.
Oh, well, thank you, Sloane. We appreciate that, right? We always say we'll talk to everyone. Right. I always look at odds and I always figure for me, sometimes, the more you do it, right, you're going to find something, right? You only need to find one or two. Thank you so much, Sloane. Appreciate that. Stephen, what do we do differently, you think, at CulinArt that makes these programs, for lack of a better word, stick, quote unquote?
I think there's a lot of just the personal side. I mean, we're in hospitality, we're in the business of people, but there really is that kind of step beyond that, actually getting to know our clients. And all managers I've seen, they've had this personal relationship with their clients where it's like you check in on each other like you're friends. It's a working relationship, but also there's a friendship there. And even in CulinArt as itself, just very open. Like I said, it's a working relationship, but also there's a friendship there as well. It's just been really exciting, the chance to kind of see those different avenues that Ed's has let me see, and I've been fortunate enough to kind of see all the areas and just kind of how open they are with like, hey, yeah, we have this knowledge here, we're willing to share it with you so you can, develop yourself further and kind of get to where you want to go.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen. Kavya, what have you seen a little different that you like and that you think, makes these programs move forward in that positive direction?
I think going on the same line of thought, everyone is so approachable. Everyone is so closely connected on campus. And I think that's very, very important for the success of the entire university as a whole. Whether something's going on the other side of campus and they need, managers or staffing, it takes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to kind of pull something together and make it happen. And so I think, at least at Stony Brook University, we are very good with communication in that way. Everyone's just a text or a call away. And so that kind of keeps everyone in the loop. It keeps everyone informed. And that's great, because when students come up and ask us a question about something that's happening on the other side of campus, that's the only way we'll know about it. Another thing that's important, as you mentioned, is relationships, and forming relationships with students is also really important because they're your clients and they're the ones that you are trying to appease. And that helps us figure out what they're looking for and what they would like more of. Say there's a special that people really liked and they want to see more of that, then adding that to, a normal cycle menu is the way to go. And so those feedbacks are so important for us as a dining location to be able to cater to what they want.
Well, Kavya, that's interesting because we need that feedback. Constructive feedback from our partners, and these, where we serve, and our team members who are watching now can appreciate that. Where we serve, we need that feedback because that makes us better. So anything happening in the future that you want to highlight as we're, looking into a new fiscal year? We're recording right now in the throes of summer. All of our air conditioners are cranked up for today. I can tell, right? Because it's a scorcher in all of our geographic areas today. But Sloane, what's on the horizon and what do we have to look forward to finishing out this year and into next?
Yeah, so we are currently getting ready for the next fiscal year, which starts October 1st. We will be on campuses starting September for the fall, and then again in the spring, probably January, February. So we go to a bunch of different campuses. We'll have all of our jobs posted pretty soon, hopefully. And then, hopefully we'll see all of you guys on campus soon.
Ed, from your standpoint in your area, what are your future plans for continued professional development?
Well, one of the things that we're really excited and happy about is that the education division is going to be strong. We've retained 100% of our accounts, and they're going to open with normal business.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, we've also
100%.
100%. We've also picked up a couple of new pieces of business. So the education division is going strong, and the B&I business is slowly getting there. Most accounts are 3 days on, 2 days remote, but that looks like it's changing. So we expect more people in the office and returning to work. So it's exciting, and I think it's going to be a great year as we crawl out of this pandemic. And hopefully the supply chain issues are lessening up. All indicators appear that way. And the staffing seems to be getting a little bit better. So exciting new year coming up this fall. So looking forward to getting some rest this summer. I suggest you all do the same, and we're gonna have a great year ahead. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Sloane, and thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Kavya. This has been such an exciting, jam-packed episode of Round the Table with CulinArt. Once again, I'm Matt Santarpia. We concentrated on this special edition on our professional management programs. And once again, we thank all of our participants and we thank you for joining. Check out CulinArt Connect on YouTube, and you can see every edition of Round the Table with CulinArt spanning from the beginning of the series. Once again, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.